What is up, guys? Good evening. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully, you're having a great start to your week. It's already the evening, so I'm sure you had already a Monday a day. I had a good one. I had a good weekend. Getting ready for what could be a very interesting week in crypto. So far, like a pretty chill Monday. I didn't see anything crazy going on. I did see a couple of the projects that I'll talk about doing very very well. In this live stream today, just about an hour to hang out with you guys, cover some of the things that are interesting to you and me. Hopefully, I will cover obviously just some of the news that's going on, generally speaking, in terms of the macros. But I want to cover a couple of topics. I want to go over a BTCB airdrop that's coming on Thursday. I also want to cover Shiba on base. It currently right now, I think it broke the $7 million market cap again. And we'll see if it holds. I'll definitely do a chart check for you guys. I want to check out just the market in general. Nothing very specific, nothing too technical, but just want to go over some of the things that are happening. But definitely want to cover a couple of the projects that are having news today, and then just some charts, and then just talk about kind of like how things are going and what to expect over the next 5 days. We got some news also that's going to happen on the 15th. Today is January 12th. So in a couple of days, I believe the market crypto legislation is going up for a vote again. So I think there's a little bit of tension there. I think Coinbase is threatening to pull, support for some folks in the legislature. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but nothing too crazy. I think obviously the geopolitical stuff is interesting. I'm not going to get into it because you guys can read up on that, but that's stuff that's going on. So anyway, just wanted to say hello. Hopefully you're doing great, guys. This is the second live stream. If you're here for the first time, and you don't know what the hell is going on here and who the hell I am, I'm Beto on base. Basically been in crypto for the last couple of years, on and off for about 6-7 years. Did some trading a while back. I have a 9-to-5 job. This is more like a passion project, something that I love to do. But I love crypto. I fell in love about 2 years ago. I went through the very difficult stages of the meme coin pump season that happened in 24. I definitely went through some learning situations. I got rugged many times. I went through all that stuff like many of you guys. So hopefully you guys can relate. And, I feel like I'm more of a seasoned veteran. By no means I'm an expert. And so anything that I say here, take it with a grain of salt. It's just my opinion. Nothing that I say obviously is true, is 100% true. You never know what can happen in crypto. But, I'm just trying to make sense of the market with you guys. I'm just trying to figure out and navigate this very crazy place that's crypto, because I still truly believe that crypto is one of the places and one of the spaces that if you do the right thing, if you do it right, you can definitely come up on top and do very well for yourself and for your family, and set up for, a more promising future financially, which is, I think, what we're all looking for. So anyway, just want to welcome you back. Hopefully you guys are here. Drop me a hello in the chat to know who's here and who's not. I know some people come in, some people come out, and then some other people will watch this. I saw on the metrics on the first one, which was I was pretty surprised and pretty amazed and pretty excited. Some folks were watching afterwards, right after the stream. So I appreciate that. Appreciate you for being here. Let's get into some of the things that I wanted to chat with you guys about tonight. Like I said, it's definitely an interesting time to be alive with this administration. President Trump obviously has his hands and is working all over the place. And one of these news stories that popped up is the investigation that is now going to happen. They're going to investigate the Fed and Powell. And then yesterday, Powell, came out and dropped the video. So it's like a back and forth. I think, I'm not going to get into the ramifications of this. I'm not going to get into too much of what's going to happen with this or could happen. But it's just, unfortunately for us, and unfortunately in the short term, this could be just more a little bit of FUD, right, in the markets. It could be a little bit more of uncertainty, like it's been happening for the past couple of years. A lot of uncertainty, a lot of doubt in terms of what's going on. But maybe in the long run, it's a good thing. I don't know. Some analysts say that for the Fed to work, it needs to be independent of the government. And now, the government's overreaching at this point with an investigation, with trying to, push the Fed to do things that they don't, want to do necessarily. Um, do I believe the Fed is 100% non-corrupt or, non-biased or whatever? No, right? But I tend to have some faith in it, right? Because it's worked for so long. So I don't know. I don't know that what's going to play out, what's going to happen. These things tend to take time. Maybe it's just posturing. Maybe it's just President Trump doing his thing to put pressure. But who knows what's going to happen at this point? I'm definitely going to keep an eye out because any big developments could definitely impact the market. And you know how the market is; it just reacts crazily to any news like that. Anything that happens with the market. So we'll see what happens. Other stuff that's going on, obviously the immigration stuff in Minnesota and that sort of stuff. That's a whole different thing. But that's just stuff that's really kind of I think in a way it's distracting from a lot of things that are happening in terms of the market and other things. So maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing in terms of the distraction, I'm saying. But, who knows where we're going with that. But anyway, that's kind of stuff. But I did want to talk about something that was interesting to me that I think is going to be something that we need to keep an eye out. I don't know if you guys do this. I always use Grok just to give me a rundown of stories that are happening the last 24 hours or 48 hours instead of going through Google and looking for news and all that stuff or getting notifications from the publications. I just go to AI and say, hey, AI, give me, the top 5 stories in crypto over the last 24 hours, that sort of stuff. And one of the things that popped up, and it's popped up for the first time in a while now, is tensions around upcoming Senate crypto legislation, with Coinbase threatening to pull support if stablecoins reward restrictions tighten. So this is coming up again. Legislation is coming up again. And that's something that's interesting because I think it kind of was quiet for a while. I remember talking about this at the beginning of December, but nothing really happened. So now I think this is going to start to ramp up again. The talks about, I think it's obviously the holidays and the new year and all that stuff, but now it's just January 12th. So we're well into 2026 and things, kind of ramp up again. So we'll see what happens with crypto legislation. I think any positive crypto news in terms of legislation is a catalyst for the market. It's a positive catalyst for the market. And I think considering, the down year that we had in 2025, and kind of how things are looking up in terms of the market and the macros and what we expect for crypto in 2026. I think that this is probably something that's a precursor to maybe something positive, right? I don't know if things will get done soon. It might take a few months. It might take a year. It might take 2 years. Hopefully it doesn't take that long. And hopefully we start getting legislation, kind of the guardrails and some of the regulatory stuff that needs to happen for crypto to be even more widely adopted. At this point, there's no going back, guys. I know, that 4-year cycle, we talked about it. It's over. All that stuff, that's like the first generation of crypto or the first era of crypto, I think it's done. At this point, we're living now in an institutional driven market for crypto. And I can see it, from the 20,000 foot view. I think you can see it as well, kind of what's going on. And so we kind of need to adapt, right? As retail investors and, very few retail investors that we are, I would think, maybe not. We kind of have to now kind of go with the flow, right? And just pick our spots. That's at least how I see it. Really think about strategically what you're doing. Think about it from a different perspective. It used to be that we kind of knew what was going to happen, right? The cycles would pump, and then there was the bear market, and then again it would come and go up and down. And right now I'm seeing, and we'll look at the chart for crypto and Bitcoin and such in a second, just to give you kind of an overview as to what's going on with the market in terms of numbers. But for now, I think that the market, it's in an uptrend. It's a slow melt. We had the very red December. Last month was red. It just kind of bottomed out, and I don't think it'll go lower from what we're seeing right now. We're at around a 3.01 trillion market cap for crypto total. Oh, here it is. Yeah. And so I don't think that's going to change too much unless there's a huge black swan event. But at this point, with some of the things that are happening, with the printing, the money printer on, uh, crypto legislation, a lot more adoption of crypto. I think a lot of people are maturing. I think there's still kind of folks out there gambling and doing the pump fund and that kind of stuff, but I think that's going away. I think crypto is maturing, and I posted a video, and if you can make a note and watch that, and if you haven't, I posted a video on Sunday evening yesterday about how crypto and memes are evolving, right? Memes to survive, memes are going to have some sort of utility and some sort of value, and that's where some of the projects that I'll talk about in a second, like Shibon Bays, like BTCB, Bitcoin on Virtuals, Mega Base Coin, which is a fairly new one as well. Eli 5A. I even talk about Blue, which is a true meme coin, but it'll have some sort of utility. And what I'm getting to here is that meme coins, are evolving, and I think everybody else is evolving, with crypto at the same time. I think we went through a very crazy 2024 and 25 where meme coins were like the frenzy, and folks were just going nuts with gambling with. I went through it, right? I told you about at the beginning of this stream that I went through my pains, my pain, learning growing pains, I should say, with the meme coins and all that. I think a lot of people, and let me know in the comments, let me know in the chat if you agree with this, that kind of we've learned from that, and we're staying away a little bit from that sort of stuff now, right? We're staying away from the gambling aspect of it, the making money really quick. I think, at least from my perspective, I understand that time, right, builds wealth in this market. So that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to moving, as we move forward, and how meme coins are evolving, and how things are evolving, and how even crypto investors are maturing, I think. Now, there's always going to be that sector of people that are just going to be, screwballs. There's always going to be that sector of people that are going to be shady, that are going to be doing things that are, ruggy and borderline illegal, and sometimes illegal. That's something that we need to navigate, right? That's going to happen wherever there's money. I always believe there's corruption. Wherever there's money, there's abuse. Wherever there's money, there's shadiness. And you can definitely see it in crypto, and just not even in crypto, also in the stock market. If you've ever been in the stock market, you'll see that everything's so manipulated. There's so much BS happening in the stock market as well, that you just got to deal with it and navigate. But there's still opportunities, and you just got to pick your spots to make sure that you are doing well for yourself. So let's take a quick look, guys. I'm gonna switch on to some of the charts just to show you kind of what's going on. I want to give you a quick outlook as to some of the things that are happening in terms of crypto, and for at this moment right now, we're pretty flat in terms of Bitcoin, in terms of Ethereum, the leading assets in the crypto space. They're at about 2% down over the last 7 days, and over the last 24 hours about 1% down. So there's a little bit of red in the market, but nothing too crazy. And I think it has to do with some of the things that have been going on externally in politics and just the real world, or the world, but nothing too crazy. I think if you pull up Bitcoin, it's been kind of consolidating at around 90,000, right? It won't go below 90,000. It won't go too far up ever since November. Let's see. This is the 1 week. I'm going to do the daily chart. Well, ever since November 21st, November 21st, it went down all the way to 80K, and then it started, pumping a little bit more, and we saw that a red December, kind of dropped all the way to 84 again, and now it's been going up, and we saw a little bit of a pullback, but right now we're about 91, and over the last week or so, even more than a week, maybe 10 days, it's been steadily consolidating at around 90,000 and above. So not sure where it's going. I think, there's other people that do the analysis, but I mean, that's definitely a good sign, unless we start seeing, full falling knife stuff and a huge cascade of red, then, would be worried. At this point, I think it's looking good. I think it's looking like it's maybe forming like another a double bottom, maybe form one, right here on November 21st, and then December 18 looks like it could be double bottom. Maybe it'll do another touch of this support line over here, which is about 84,000, 84,000, 85,000, something like that. But we'll see. I mean, that's something. Bitcoin is moving slow right now, which is maybe in some ways is no news is good news, especially thinking about kind of what happened over the last 4 weeks before the holidays. Pretty treacherous, a pretty dreadful market, but it's getting better, and I think that has to do with the new year and people coming back from the holidays and so on and so forth. Ethereum over $3,000 at 3,100 currently. It's down about 3.5% over the last last 7 days, which is not a huge deal. And then the other assets are also looking kind of the same, right? There was a nice little pump. The biggest meme coin, Dogecoin, is at 13 cents, down about 10% over the last 7 days. I mean, all the meme coins were pumping about a week ago. Pepe was pumping. I think Brett was pumping. A bunch of these bigger meme coins were pumping, but I kind of died down. So we'll see where that goes. But other than that, let's see any other big projects here. Everything looking red over the last 7 days, but nothing too crazy. I mean, looks like a small pullback. Monero has been doing great, and haven't heard a lot about Monero in a while. I remember last cycle or 2 cycles ago when it was kind of introduced into the market. I remember Monero was it like $100 or something like that, or even less. Let's see. Let me do I won't go through that. But anyway, Monero is another one that was pumping. It's all the way up. It was like 450, and now it's like 630, 640. So about $200 gain in terms of profits per Monero per coin. So $11 billion market cap, so not too shabby. That must be nice, right? Must be really nice to hold a token like that or a coin like that from the early beginnings, and then still be holding it. So let's take a look at the meme coins for the base chain. Meme coins for the base chain, not too bad. Brett still, I talked about how they were pumping recently. Now they're kind of on a downtrend, but I think it's just a little bit of a sell-off. So Brett's down 15% over the last 7 days. The top 4 on the base chain, Toshi as well, Degen and Ponky, they're all down about 15%. Dep Relief Bot just went nuts recently. I'm going to take credit for it because I mentioned it in the video on Sunday, so I'm just going to take credit for that. But it's just been doing amazing. It started pumping, let's see, in January 1st, and it was at around, what market cap? Like a $3 million market cap or so. And now it's at over 20, like 22, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, $22 million market cap. So insane volume, insane gains. We'll see where that goes. But Debt Relief Bot is one of the interesting ones that I follow. I don't have any DRB. If you have any, let me know kind of what's going. Hey, Armando. Good to see you, brother. I was following your guys' VC. Always appreciate the insight. By the way, shout out to Armando for the amazing TA. But anyway, just taking a look at some of the projects on the base chain. Let's see what else we got. And then we got Shiv on Base, which is one that obviously I follow very closely with some of you guys. We're above $7 million in terms of market cap, and I think that's huge. I think if we hold, we're up in the next level. I'll take a look at the chart for you guys in a couple of seconds, but yeah, but Shiv on Base is doing really well. It's getting close to the top 10 again. What up, Michael? Good to see you. Great job today. I was listening to your guys' VC as always. Appreciate you guys' insight. Just brings a lot to the community, Shiv on Base community. By the way, if you are not in the Shiv on Base community, definitely check it out. Go into TG. Super active. A lot of folks there, supportive. And also, if you don't have Shiv on Base, not financial advice, but definitely get some. But yeah, so we got Crow and Knife, above. We're going to flip some of these pretty soon if you're on Shib on Base. We already flipped Mr. Miggles, Russell, Kibo, Shib as well. So we're doing really well. And this is, the app's not even been released, right? the AI app. If you, like I said, if you don't know about SHIB on Base, if you're new to SHIB on Base and this talk, definitely do your own research. But there's an app that's going to be released pretty soon, within the next, I'm going to guess, there's no official release date, but I'm going to guess that within, a week or maybe 2 weeks, it's going to be released. And then, it's kind of like letting the genie out of the bottle. Once you get that app out, people are going to be able to download it, subscribe, and then, who knows where the price of SHIB on Base is going to go. Look, it could stall and it could the price just stay where it's at. I highly doubt it. But I think that just the fact that more eyes are going to be there, more investors that already know SHIB on Base are definitely going to, maybe even throw in more capital into SHIB on Base. Anyway, I'll talk about that in a second. But again, Crow at Knife, Ski Mask Dog, love those memes. They'll get flipped. I can almost guarantee. I think Dep Relief Bot now is in my radar as one of the top contenders for taking over the base chain as well. We'll see where it goes. Maybe it's just a pump right now, but $22 million market cap is a really, really strong base at this point. But I think it might go down a little bit. I haven't looked at the chart, but definitely something to look at. And obviously the top four, Brett, Toshi, Degen, and Punky, they're going to be there for a while. So the target for those of us that are in the lower, market caps, and it looks $7 million is a lot of money. But anyway, below 10, that's the mark right there. So, some of these projects are doing really well. So let's take a look at SHIB on Base real quick, just to give you my perspective, kind of what's going on with this project. I drew some lines. I like drawing lines. It's just, fun for me. This huge pennant that I was just looking at, that trend line. This is the 4-hour chart, and it broke out. I wasn't following, I was at work, so I wasn't following exactly kind of what was going on, but we're out of it. We're out of this, we broke out again at around, what time was it? Today, around 8 a.m. We broke out, and now we're up above the $7 million market cap, and I think that's great news. Now we're looking at the 7.5 mil, which is the more recent resistance, and then from there, I don't know what I did. Give me 1 second. You know what I'm doing? I think I just screwed up the chart. Let me see if I can fix this. Anyway, here we go. Let me do the 4-hour chart again. There we go. So anyway, the resistance levels, I mean, there's a couple more, but I think like I said, I think once this app is released and once more eyes are, looking at this project, it's going to continue to head up. I mean, for me, I honestly don't see, and obviously nothing is certain, but definitely, just the fact that we got the app coming out, rolling out, is something that definitely need to keep an eye out. And shout out to Paul and the community and everybody that's been working on the app and making sure that the app is, flawless. I love, how it looks. I was able to take a sneak peek at it, play around with it when it was first introduced to the testers, and I created a video. Go check it out. It's in the channel. But I love what it's gonna do. I love the app. I've definitely used ChatGPT and Grok and all the other apps, even Copilot with Microsoft, to do, to ask questions, medical. The Pauline app is just in the league of itself. It's very different. It's actually focused for what it's intended to do. And then the great thing about it, and I think this is the key for this app, because look, there's a bunch of apps and chatbots out there, and so many things that are now AI based. But this application, or this app, is going to have the Eli 5A technology that removes hallucinations, and it's based exactly or purely on research. So those two things are what I think differentiate. And I'll talk about. I know some folks were talking about how Eli 5A has not been running higher, and I'll talk about that in a second, and why I think it is, and why I think it's still time to jump on board on Eli 5A, because eventually that price is not going to hold. I think I'll get to that in a second. But anyway, just SHIB on Base doing really, really well at $7.1 million market cap, continues to just hold those levels. It broke out back in December before Christmas, and we had a nice Christmas present. double bottom, and then it just completely pumped all the way to 7.5. And now we're going to retest 7.5 pretty soon, maybe even tonight or tomorrow. And then from there, it could be, all hell can break loose. So let me do something really cool that I've been looking at. I'm going to look at the weekly chart. And this is just really fantastic when you see the weekly chart. Let me stretch it out for you guys. When you see the weekly chart, and I'm gonna do some drawing here for you guys. When you do the weekly chart, this is what I look at, and obviously I just like looking at patterns. But look at this pattern right here, and then look at this pattern that's forming right here, right? So those two sections are what I'm looking at. And sorry for all the lines, but anyway, this are the kind of sections, the kind of pattern that I'm looking at, that it's forming, and it's forming again here. And so how high it'll go, I mean, you could do some calculations, but that looks like, to me, that looks like it's going to go into the, multiple millions, tens of millions of market cap, hopefully soon, maybe in a couple of months, maybe even, March, maybe. Will it be up in the 200 mil? That'd be fantastic. And this is just like, from what I can see visually, right? Not doing any, true TA. But anyway, looks really promising, looks really good. Let me take a look at Eli 5A for you guys, since it's tied to the SHIB on base. And look, let me give you my perspective. What up, New York? Charles, good to see you, brother. Good to see you here. Thanks for joining. Appreciate that. Don't forget, you guys, to like and what is it? Like and not subscribe. Like the channel. Gets more engagement, I guess. I'm still learning all that stuff about YouTube. I'm a rookie. But anyway, this is the Eli 5A chart, and it's been holding the upper trend. I mean, it had its pump over here at the beginning, and it's what happens with projects when they launch, and it pumped, it consolidated. Now it's growing, right? It's going in the right direction, I believe. Let me make it shorter a little bit for everybody to see. And it's following that trend, that blue trend. I think it's beautiful. And look, one of the things that I think, at least from what I've learned, and this is just from observing charts and observing projects, not everybody's here to buy and hold. There's a lot of people trading. A lot of people are trading, and maybe some people are hybrid, traders and holders. And people like volatility. So the fact that this project is going up and down, I think it's normal. I think it's healthy. It means that there's people interested in it. The volume today is not very high, but that's just, kind of the nature of the market. When liquidity starts flowing back in, when people in retail starts flowing back in, this is going to be important. But here's the deal. It's at a $420,000 market cap. This level of project. There's like stupid meme coins. Look, I shouldn't say stupid, but there's some meme coins that have no value that are higher market cap than this, right? That Eli 5A. And, the fact that it's at this market cap is just such an opportunity that I think you really can't let go. It's at 2 cents, buy yourself, $500 or $100 or, DCA, whatever you can do. It's a great opportunity. Why? Eli 5A is an AI project that is undervalued because most people don't know about it. I think that's the main reason why this project has not taken off like SHIB or with SHIB. But once SHIB on base starts getting even more recognition and more eyeballs and more people, taking a look at it and then finding out, oh, Eli 5A is the technology that they're using for the app, then Eli 5A is going to start getting more eyeballs. Eli 5A is going to start getting more attention, more investors, more buys, more buy pressure, and higher prices, and then you won't be able to get it at $420,000 market cap. That's my thesis on why Eli 5A hasn't taken off. Somebody commented in one of my the videos about Eli 5A that they were surprised that Eli 5A had not taken off. You know what? Eli 5A is in a sea of other AI projects. Just look at, Virtuals is full of really good AI projects. There's other AI projects out there on the X, on Twitter, everywhere. So there's almost like a surplus of AI projects, and only the strongest will survive. And so the fact that Eli 5A is tied to SHIB on base, a project that's really solid, really strong, it's already at 7 mil market cap, that has the app that's going to be released pretty soon, that has the marketing power that's behind SHIB on base, and the community. right? Don't forget about the community. Look, shout out to the Shibon based community. The market sucks. For the most part right now, people are, people are distracted doing something else because the market's kind of quiet. They'll come back. But the Shibon based community, that TG is always active, and there's always, somebody posting, there's always somebody, grinding, and that's important. And that's going to make a difference, right? In pumping or, raising the value of Shibon base, which then it's going to lag a little bit, but Eli 5A is going to catch up. I don't know if it'll, be the same market cap. I don't expect it to. But Eli 5A could be a very solid project. At the top of the market, it could be maybe 50, 100 mil. Who knows, right? But yeah, I think the only challenge here is that there's so many other AI projects out there, and they're all kind of in the same, realm in terms of notoriety. Maybe a couple more are more like DRB that I mentioned earlier, but Eli 5A is gonna catch fire. I don't doubt that. So definitely take a look at it. If you're new to Eli 5A, check it out. It's a great project, great folks behind it. And it's a technology that's gonna powering the app for SHIB on Base. Now, I do want to talk about Bitcoin on Base today because there is an airdrop coming on Thursday. So we're about 3.5 days, 3.5 days from the airdrop. Bitcoin on Base is an older meme project. It's also a CTO. It's currently at $2.9 million market cap, and it's priced at 18 cents per token. I do hold some Bitcoin on Base, so just full disclosure. So obviously I'm a little bit biased because I hold, but I truly believe that Bitcoin on Base is going to be one of these projects that eventually, when retail investors come in, because when I came in back into the market 2 years ago, the first thing I saw was Bitcoin on Base, and I said, hey, this is going to be something that will catch on when everybody else starts kind of flowing in, all the masses. And so what market cap can it reach? I can do calculations. It'd be fun if it's great if it does a bill, right? But I don't know if it will. But even $200 million, $400 million market cap is very possible because of the scarcity of this token. So do your own research on Bitcoin on Base. But anyway, what I want to talk about, and this is the chart. Again, it's been looking really nicely. We had a huge dump just a couple of weeks ago. The community came back and just picked that up. But doing solid, very solid. There's a nice base at around 2 mil, and some good support at 2.5 mil as well. So we're at the bottom, kind of the bottom. So I would expect this project also to do very well, in the next coming couple of quarters. But the thing is that they have Bitcoin on Base is going to be dropping, and I'm going to jump out of here so you can check out Bitcoin on Base. This is the website, but anyway, Bitcoin on Base is mining Bitcoin through a partnership with HashPower, which is a mining company. And essentially what happened is that some of the investors, and I'm part of that investor group, some of those investors, allocated some funding to the mining collective. So that money is mining Bitcoin, and then a portion of it goes to the community and a portion goes to the investors of that mining pool. So essentially what's going on, it's Bitcoin on Base is mining Bitcoin. It converts it to Coinbase wrapped Bitcoin, and then airdrops it to holders that have 2,400 tokens or more. So it's almost like you get paid to hold Bitcoin on Base. And I'm holding, this is going to be my third airdrop. We'll see how much it is. The project is still growing. There's still, a lot to look forward to in this project. And it's going to take some time, but I think this is another one that's going to be interesting. But anyway, just to give you some information on what you need to do for the airdrop on Thursday is if you have 2,400 tokens, you need to have them in a decentralized wallet. So Coinbase wallet, MetaMask, wherever it is that you have it, just make sure that those tokens are in a decentralized wallet. If you have it on Coinbase, it's not gonna. You might not be able to get the airdrop because the address might not be completely visible to the team. So just make sure to have it in a decentralized wallet. The more you have, the more you'll earn. There's a formula. I don't know how the team is doing it, but there's a formula. And obviously, if you hold 24,000 tokens, you're gonna get more Bitcoin than if you have 2,400 tokens. I mean, that just makes sense, right? If you have 240,000, obviously you're going to get more than somebody that's going to get 2,400 tokens. So that's kind of the dynamic there. and all you need to do is just have that wallet. Now, just fair tip: if this is your first airdrop, just make sure and you don't see it eventually, because it's gonna happen. It happened to me the last time because I'm holding Tangem on a Tangem all my stuff, and I didn't see the airdrop, right? So I just had to Google it, or actually grokked it, and found out that I needed to make the tokens visible in my wallet. So you'll have to go through maybe a little bit of that, but other than that, it's simple as that. You don't need to stake your tokens. You don't need to lock them up. You don't need to do anything to get the airdrop. You just have to hold. And the snapshot is likely going to be taken pretty soon. I don't know when. Usually it's taken around 24 hours before, or 12 hours before the airdrop. So be sure to take that into consideration, right? So that you're able to get your airdrop for BTCV. So BTCV currently at about 18-19 cents. This one has been gone up fairly high in terms of market cap, but currently still at a very reasonable price. So about 2,400 tokens is going to be about $400 maybe. So it's quite. I mean, it's not chump change. There is an investment there, and the airdrop might not be like a lot compared to that, but anyway, it's still. I think it's still worth. How can you say no to Bitcoin, the king, right? The king as of now. So. This was posted on January 10th, so 2 days ago. It said 5 days until airdrop, so it's now 3 days. And also, they're gonna have a AMA, so be sure to check it out. There's a space tomorrow, Tuesday, January 13th. January 13th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. So take a look at that. So if you want to find out more about it, and also Bitcoin on Base tied to Bitcoin on Virtuals, that's another thing we can talk about. That some other time, but that's another positive for this project, that now it's going to have an injection of revenue from Bitcoin on Virtuals, which is also mining Bitcoin. And it's going to be pretty interesting. So anyway, shout out to the Bitcoin on Base community. If you're out there, shout out to you. Leave a comment in this video, or say hello on X. I always appreciate you guys. Been around Bitcoin on Base since summer of 2024, so going on 2 years. Bitcoin on Base, and I've accumulated, and it's been a fun experience. So I can't wait to see where this project goes when the true pump happens. So let me jump on to a couple more projects. Megabase Coin is one that I've been following as well. I told you about it just in my channel a while back. Shout out to Ray and team and some of the community members. I know Armando as well. Shout out to you. I know you were doing TA for this as well, so I won't go too deep into it. But it's looking good, right? It's just early for Megabase Coin. Check them out. This project is one that I appreciate because of the tokenomics. It'll have rewards for holders, and also it'll reward or donate some of the revenue to a charity of choice. And I believe the community will be able to vote on who gets this. And so this is another project that's pretty cool. To me, it's looking good as well. It's holding this a pretty healthy trend line up. Things take time to develop. We had this huge dump right here. Somebody, got impatient or just wanted their, they had to exit. Whatever happens, that happens. But it looks like it's recovering nicely, and it looks like it's gonna take time to consolidate, right? This is a chart. This chart's it's a little bit weird to me, but it's because it's fairly new, and I think that's the case. So Megabase Coin, check it out as well. Pretty interesting project right now. The volume's kind of low, and I think the volume's just low across the board over the last couple of days. Maybe people are again distracted, going back to work after the holidays, and so on and so forth. But we'll see where Megabase Coin as well goes. And I want to show you one before I wrap up tonight, and just give you some final thoughts on where we're going, what we're headed, and that sort of stuff. I want to show you Blue, because I got into this project because, look, I at the beginning of this stream, I was talking about how I went through my growing pains with meme coins. I still don't, I don't have any true meme coins, right? The meme coins that I have have some sort of utility. Because I truly believe at this point, if you don't invest in, tokens or meme coins, if you like meme coins, by the way, if you don't invest in any meme coins, or if you invest in meme coins that don't have any true value or any revenue stream, then you're in a world of pain. Yo, shout out to Blue on Base for joining. Thanks, man. Um, so Blue on Base is one that I jumped on just because of the nostalgia. Blue Demon, that's the proper name in English, but Blue Demon is like a legendary Mexican wrestler. Do some research. You're gonna look for some videos. It was one of my favorite, and one of the favorite wrestlers ever in the history of Mexican wrestling. Mexican wrestling, very similar in some ways to, and you probably know Rey Mysterio, that was in the WWE or whatever the league is called now, or the wrestling, league is now. Sorry, I'm not really familiar at this point with the wrestling here in the States, but anyway, Lucha Libre, man, it's amazing. And if I saw it live a few times when I was a kid, I fell in love with the luchadors, right, with the luchadores. And Blue Demon is like an icon, right, in not only in the Mexican culture but Latin American culture. And so just Blue, I said, you know what, I'm on board. But now looking at it, and when I looked at the possibilities, this could be definitely a project that helps on board those Latinos, right? People from Latin America and even in other cultures. But that's one of the things that I noticed. It goes with Blue, the Blue from Base. They're always active. I know Proof. Shout out to Proof Dev. I know he came from Sonic, and he's doing a great job on the base chain, man. He's all over the place, establishing relationships, and then he's working in the back end, right, on an app and some other stuff that's happening. And look, you can see the price is going up, and this is the daily chart. I love how this chart is looking. I definitely do, and I think this project can do probably maybe like a 10x from here. I'm not even joking at this point, but I got in here somewhere around 12K, I believe, or less. No, I got in there maybe 8K. I don't remember now. But anyway, I got in because I said, you know what, I want to go early on this, and it threw a little bit. But at this point, I'm pretty convinced that Blue is going to do very well as we move forward. Currently, $1,800 in volume, not too shabby over the last 24 hours, and a $27,000 market cap, super tiny micro market cap. But as that could go crazy, and this is the logarithmic. We can go into 100K market cap really quick, right? That's right there's 100K. That's about 3x, 4x from here, and I think it's gonna happen. We just need a little bit more time. But again, the team is building, the community is growing. We got Poet, I believe. Whatever his handle, I think. Shout out to him, Poet. I know he's one of the bigger accounts and bigger supporters of the base chain. He's on board. His eyes are on this project. And again, look, this is a true meme coin, but again, it has some sort of utility, or will have some sort of utility. And I think that's key for survival now in this type of market. So again, Blue on Base, check it out. It's a fun meme coin. I love the art. I love the lore of the Lucha Libre, Luchador, that sort of stuff. If I could go back to my childhood, I would definitely go back and try to go to more Lucha Libre matches where I used to live, because it was amazing. But anyway, maybe that's just me talking, right? But I think there's something to it, and something to it, and something to this. And eventually this will also catch a little bit of fire, and especially if a lot of people from Latin America come in and they start seeing, the luchador, I think it's going to be fun. So anyway, really cool, good solid project. This is the chart. Let me kind of make it a little bit smaller so we see kind of the logarithm. I'm going to get away from the logarithmic and auto and that. Let's take a look at that. So looking good. The FAR chart still early as well. So a lot of time still for this to grow and to develop and to grow into something. So anyway, that's a little bit of the past. If you have any projects that you want me to take a look at, just superficially, and take a look at, let me know, leave your comments and all that stuff. But again, these are some of the ones that I'm following. A lot more projects out there, and definitely some of the projects to look at. So excited for this week, excited for this is where this is going. Excited for SHIB on base, excited for Bitcoin on base and Bitcoin on virtuals, that ecosystem. It's going to grow. This is another milestone for them and for everybody holders. And congrats to everybody holding right now, right? The market has not been easy over the last, year, especially. 25 was supposed to be, the super cycle and the mega pump and everything. And remember, look, we were at the beginning of December and mid-December, everybody was bummed, right? A lot of these like chats and a lot of these Telegram, communities, everybody was bummed because nothing happened. We were promised, by all the so-called KOLs, all the so-called people that know the market, all the major investors with 100,000 followers, so on and so forth, all these people that supposedly know what's going to happen and, are predicting what's going to happen. Look, nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows. You can only assume some things and you can only speculate on some of the things and kind of, have a thesis, but nobody knows and nobody out there. I don't know. So I will never proclaim that I know what's going to happen in the market. That's why I said at the beginning of the stream, and I'd always say it, I'm just trying to make sense of the market with you guys. All these people, they don't know shit. They didn't know anything. And they'll never know anything, right? They might have some experience, but you have experience. So always do your own research. That's always what I say. Follow folks that in your communities, whether it's Telegram or, what are the other communities? Discord or wherever you hang out with people, or even in your chats or whatever, hang out with people that you trust that, are, that have a level head. Right, they're not emotional on the market. They don't go crazy with throwing money at meme coins and pumps and stuff like that. Hang out with people that you get a good vibe, that you can trust, that are giving you good advice, that are knowledgeable. Not everybody knows everything, but some people know something, right? If somebody knows how to read, charts, follow them, check it out. There's always somebody out there that you can hang out with. So that's just my advice. Michael says the 4-year cycle is broken now. That's partly why 2025 didn't pan out. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that cycle is different now. I think I was saying at the beginning of the stream now, with the influx of institutions coming into the market, that totally changed things. And I think it's, it was bound to happen, right? It was like this small crypto space that was growing steadily. We had the 4-year cycles, and really what retail was determining what would happen. Now it's more institutions are determining, and in a way it kind of sucks because now what's that? The bigger market makers are manipulating, but you know what? That was bound to happen. So all I can say is let's pick our spots, right? You got to pick your spots. You got to, kind of think about how you're going to invest to make sure that you don't get burned by the big manipulation companies, or even just kind of the other stuff that's going on with scams and so on and so forth. So anyway, so that's kind of my take on that. Definitely welcome your comments. Michael, again, business cycles now because of institutional investors. Exactly. Institutional investors now, are going to drive this. And that's where we need to kind of make sense of things, right? We got to adapt. The market is changing rapidly, just like everything else in life, right? Politics, our world, look at everything that's going on in the world right now, right? Venezuela, holy crap, right? That wasn't expecting that. The market's the same. It's going to change. Crypto legislation, it's coming down the pike. That's going to change things. So, just gotta stay tuned. Gotta stay, strong. Gotta stay with your, convicted picks and continue to DCA if you're doing that. If trading is your thing, trade, man. That's all. I'm 100% for it. That's not my thing. I'm more of a long-term guy. And but yeah, do your thing and then learn, right? I'm always learning. I'm learning from the community members. I'm learning from other folks. That's why I hang out and I listen to other folks' the VCs or what people write on Twitter or in X, and then videos. Obviously, you gotta be selective because there's some really crappy people out there, but be selective with who you follow. You can learn something as well. And so I'll leave it at that, guys. So anyway. Michael, again, this is good because it means adoption. Yeah, adoption is happening. I agree. I think it's some people, it's like some people don't like progress, right? Because it changes things, but sometimes progress needs change, right? And I think things are changing. We're living in an amazing era where we're seeing the shift in the financial system happen right before our eyes and right before our our families and our friends, and we're part of it, right? We're part of it, and we're still so early, guys. We're still so early. Out of my look, I have tons of people that I know, tons of friends, tons of family, and I've talked to them about crypto for months now, and a couple of years and more. And I've talked to a couple of friends that I know who they are that have been in crypto but got out. Nobody is spending time in crypto as I am. From all the people I know, that just tells me that people are still afraid of jumping in and afraid of actually being a part of it. There's still some friction for people to come in to crypto, and that to me just tells me we're still very early, right? We're still extremely early, and in 10 years the landscape is going to be so much different. The landscape is going to be just incredibly different, and it's all about holding. I think it's all about picking the right projects and holding, picking the projects that are going to do well because they have the solid foundation, they have the community, they have the aspects that they need to have and the qualities that they need to have to succeed. Doesn't mean that every project you pick is going to succeed. Doesn't mean every project you have is going to make you rich or make you a lot of money or make you that $10,000, whatever it is you want to make. It doesn't mean that. However, there are a few that are gonna help you do very well, but you have to stick around, right? You can't get emotional about the market, even though the market's a pain, right? I honestly, some days I wish I didn't have to look at news in the market or look at my numbers and look at what's going on with the charts. I wish sometimes that I didn't have that, because I was so chilled, so chilled before that. But the opposite side of that is I know what the potential is. So that's why I'm here. And I think that's why you're here. So anyway, I'll leave it at that, guys. I'm coming up to the end of the stream. It's been another good one. I'm always amazed. I always freak out when I'm going to start streaming, because I say, can I fill like an hour and chat by myself? But I appreciate you guys jumping in here in the chat. I appreciate you guys coming in and, your comments. That definitely provides a boost. It's a challenge to speak for about, 52 minutes now. But anyway, I have a blast doing it, and I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you guys watching, whether if it's a couple of minutes or more, whatever it is, I appreciate you. And I'm going to be here every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific. It's like Monday Night Football, but Monday Night Charts and Monday Night Crypto. Monday Night Memes, that we should call it. But anyway, it's Beto on Base, guys. I hope you enjoyed this stream, enjoyed the conversation. Again, please feel free to, like and subscribe and all that stuff. It's just going to help continue moving this channel forward. I'll cover any freaking, project that's on the base chain. I don't cover any other projects except the bigger altcoins. I focus on base. I focus on a lot on SHIB on base and the Bitcoin on base, the Virtuals protocol as well, and so on and so forth. I'll continue to look at these. But for now, guys, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I appreciate you. I'm going to, roll some music. And then get some rest, because it's Monday. We still have 5 days to go before the weekend. Talk to you guys later.